And welcome to TellusDetroit.com. I'm Ed Foxworth here, sitting with Councilwoman Pro Tem Mary Sheffield. How are you?
Good.
Good.
Thank you.
So, look, listen, there's a lot going on around, and there's national politics and there's local politics. Talk a little bit about the People's Bill and what you're actually doing with that.
So the People's Bills is my way of lifting the voice of the residents in the city of Detroit who feel voiceless. In the midst of the revitalization that is taking place in the city, there are far too many issues that are pressing Detroiters. Socioeconomic issues like poverty, issues around foreclosure, water affordability, access to jobs. And so in the midst of the rebirth of Detroit, we have to continue to lift up these issues. And so I'm trying to do it through sound policy that actually addresses these issues, puts Detroiters to work, and address the systemic issues around poverty in the city of Detroit.
And how's that going so far?
It's going great. So we announced the legislation about maybe 5 months ago. We've passed 3 of the bills so far. And I've always told people, if we don't pass all of them, it's okay. The main thing is advocacy and raising awareness around these issues. Like water affordability is a complex issue. There was a lot involved in it through bankruptcy and things of that sort. And so it's an issue that may not be fixed overnight, but we have to keep talking about it because there's no reason that people who are living in poverty don't have water, right? And the plans that we have in place, they help, but they don't go to the extent that they need to go to. And so we're fighting for an income-based water affordability plan. And then one of the other parts of the bills that I'm really, really excited about is the economic inclusion portion of it, which ensures that we're putting Detroiters to work on these development projects in the city of Detroit.
And outside of the employment piece, what is it that citizens are saying to you that you're responding to? I mean, so when you created the People's Bill, what was the problem? What were the problems?
The problem was we feel left out. We feel left out, either whether it be access to jobs, contracts, whatever it may be. And in the midst of the revitalization that's taken place, these issues still need to be addressed. You know, I'm living in poverty. I'm going through foreclosure. I can't afford water, whatever it may be. In the midst of the revitalization, let's address these issues. And I know it's a hard topic sometimes to address, but it's something that has to be addressed, because if we don't address it, there won't be a sustainable Detroit.
Right.
And so that's what the People's Bills are really all about, is lifting those voices, addressing those issues that are systemic, that we must address, and through sound policy.
When you talk about economic development, and obviously jobs are a big part of that, where do people fall out on that? Is it still about getting employable skills?
Yeah.
Is it about finding access to jobs? What's the
I think
main issue
I think it's a combination of both. I've seen the side where there is a lack of skills available, and then also there's people who are ready to work and then trying to navigate through the process. And so we have to get a hold of both of those things. I think it's important, though, that we ensure that when we're spending public dollars, when we are giving away abatements, that we are ensuring that at least 51% of Detroiters are hired on those particular jobs. And also with the development that is coming, that we start seeking more joint ventures with Detroit headquartered businesses, with Detroit-based businesses that have been in the city of Detroit. And so that's what we're seeking to do with the economic justice portion of this, is ensuring that Detroiters are hired. And if they're not hired and they're not qualified, let's train them and create programs like a mentorship protege program, where we're actually training and building up the capacity of these companies and these individuals to take these particular jobs.
Are you concerned about any component of where Detroiters are and have been, especially as it relates to the exchange, I'll say? I don't want to use the gentrification word, but the exchange of where people are living, what's happening with businesses. And I raise that because I see so many people in the city of Detroit, longtime residents, longtime business owners, and it appears to me as though they have concerns, and they want people in your position to be able to respond to them.
Yeah, no, I think that's a huge concern. You know, longtime business owners who have been here, who've endured the good and the bad, want access and opportunity as well too. And so we just have to make sure that the conversation and the resources are balanced, that we're incentivizing people to come into the city of Detroit, but also taking care of those and providing support for those who have been here. And so I try to make sure that we do that all the time, lifting up the voices of our entrepreneurs, our small businesses that have been here, our Detroit headquartered construction firms who are looking for business when there's tons of development happening. There's no way a Detroit headquartered or Detroit-based business should be out of work with the amount of development that's happening. But we have to advocate for and require partnerships, joint ventures in some of these projects.
So a number of people are watching this and they're applauding some of the things that you're saying. How do you really break it down to an actionable item for them in their community in terms of what they ought to do tomorrow?
I just say continue to use your voice, continue to organize. I think it's very important to be involved in your neighborhood block clubs, to advocate with your city council, the mayor's office. And so just be vocal, be present. And I think it's important that, when you use your voice, it brings about change. And so don't be silent. There's a lot happening. There's a lot of resources available. 40,000 people in 2016 qualified to have their property taxes abated because they lived in poverty. Most people never even applied because they didn't even know it existed. And so there's resources for people who are struggling. They just need access and need to know that it exists. So I would just encourage people to, stay in tune to local government and use your voice to make sure you're raising issues that are concerned to you.
I recently saw you at one of the, well, not recently, but a little while ago at a rally of sorts that was called Occupy the Corner.
Yeah.
Tell us about what that is and how. What are you trying to do there?
So Occupy the Corner is my way of taking city government to the streets of Detroit. So when we talk about that disconnect from city government, oftentimes people in the neighborhoods do not know about what resources exist. We actually take that to the front doors of people. So access to jobs, training, minor felony expungement, whatever it may be, we want to provide these opportunities and resources to residents who are in need. And so we never go into areas that are thriving. We always go into marginalized communities that are in need of resources, and we provide that to residents in the city of Detroit. So that's what Occupy the Corner is to lift up those voices, to let people know in those neighborhoods that they care, that there are resources available, and that they matter. And so we're trying to connect them with city government.
Councilwoman Pro Tem, how can people get in touch with you?
So people can call my office at 313-224-4505 or follow me on social media, Mary Sheffield.
Excellent. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
All right.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.